Venezuela went to a very dark period of time, and we went through a massive migration. In a period of 6 years, almost 8 million people left the country. When that massive migration go to countries like Switzerland, Sweden, Czech Republic, US, of course, and they saw that Diplomatico was there, it became a nostalgic product. Almost Venezuelans, they were kind of like reintroduced to the brand by people from other countries. So during that period, Diplomatico became that product that brings something very positive to talk about their country. It became that gift that Venezuelans took to their friends, to their new communities, and they want to show something from their culture, and that was Diplomatico on the table.
That's incredible. All right, welcome back to another episode of Stay Tranquilo. Today we have a very, very special guest, very special episode. We are here with Diplomático Rum and José Luis. José Luis, thank you so much for being here. Encantado.
Oh, thank you, Andre. Not especially, not even in my house, but thank you very much for inviting me and having me Stay Tranquilo, man.
Sí, exactamente. I mean, Diplomático, we're going to pour a nice little cup here before we get started. Pero we have un coconut water ice cube con el que bodega que tenemos aquí.
And Diplomatic, so we're going to have Diplomático Reserva Exclusiva, the flagship of Diplomático, a very smooth, easy sipping rum. And my personal favorite is made a big ice cube from coconut water, which should be a must in every fridge in America.
The moment you mentioned it, I was like, how have I never done this before? So I'm only doing coconut water ice cubes from moving forward.
Coconut water ice cube, that's it.
So let's pour a little glass here para empezar.
Yes, please. Like I told you, I don't have media training, but
I don't think there's ever a perfect way to do this, pero
this is my media training.
Ahora sí. There you go.
Gracias.
A little bit of spilling.
Yeah.
Pero
para los muertos. How you say that in English? Like, for the dead.
Pour one for the homies.
For the homies. Exactly.
Para los homies. Pero salud. Muchas gracias.
Thank you again. Cheers.
Riquísimo.
So what I like about this, and you're going to notice, as the ice is melting,
sí.
It's just releasing a saltiness to the drink that blends with the sweetness of the rum, and it's just a little bit different every sip. Very rich.
No, delicious just to even thinking about it when you mentioned it before. Pero I do want to talk, obviously, about you, about the rum Diplomático, a very legacy brand, right, to say the least. One that has been passed on from generation to generation, is a representation de su familia, de familia de Venezuela, y, you know, something that whether you're Latino, Americano, wherever you are, you can appreciate what the brand represents, right? So talk to me a little bit about the beginning of Diplomático, right? The inception of it, kind of the thought process of why Diplomático.
And Diplomático is such an impressive story of resilience, of vision, and like you mentioned, it's a legacy brand, but we're still building that legacy,
sí.
Right? Like every day. And building a brand, it takes a village. It's not like one person job. It takes like a village to help, to believe in the vision and put in the work. So Diplomático, very briefly, very high level, is a Venezuelan brand. It's a Venezuelan rum brand. From day one, it was conceived to be the premium expression of Venezuelan rum. So Venezuela, even we've been producing rum for the last 200 years. It's not like when you think about rum, like now changed a little bit, but normally it used to be when you were thinking about rum, you were thinking about Jamaica, Cuba, sí. Puerto Rico, pero Venezuela has always been there. And the beauty about rum, I always said that rum is the spirit of the Caribbean, you know? And the beauty is that every island, every country have their own identity. Venezuelan rum have a very, very clear personality. It's very smooth. It's sweet, but not overly sweet. Has that vanilla flavor because it's aged. It's an aged rum. And Diplomatico, the vision was always to make the finest and the most elegant or complex style of that Venezuelan rum, right? However, it was a domestic brand. Diplomatico, it was only available in Venezuela until 2002, 2003,
Wow.
when we start to export the brand for the first time. And in a relative short period of time, it went from 0 countries to 100 countries available across the world. 2022, we reached 103 countries available. So amazing story of brand building.
Sí.
Also, for those who are familiar about brand building, have like this general concept, right? From personal branding to selling tires to selling cereal. But the alcohol industry have like such a unique matices and such a unique scenario that I was talking recently to a marketer, high-end marketer. She used to work with Kellogg. She used to work with Procter & Gamble, this profile. It was her first time working in the alcohol industry. And she told me, we were in a bar actually here in Miami. Shout out to La Trova in Calle 8.
The best.
We were having a drink, and she told me something that for me is like my daily. But she said, it's the first time after 20-something years as a marketer that I get to see the final consumer experience the product. Because when you're building a marketing campaign for, let's say, for a cereal, right? You build the strategy, you fill the channel by channel, but it go all the way to the product get to the shelf.
Right.
The client go to the grocery, buy the product from the shelf, take it home, and consume it at home. As a marketer, you don't get to see how the consumer is engaging with your product. In the alcohol business, you can go to a bar and you will see how the bartender is presenting this product to their client and how the client is reacting to that drink, to the bartender, to that recommendation, to the story of the brand. So as a marketer, that is a very unique scenario, let's say so. And then when we built Diplomatico, 20-something years ago, when we started the international expansion, if today aged rum and CP rum is still like a small segment, a small category, 20-something years ago, it was almost non-existent. So we were one of the first brand as a pioneer to teach or to show that rum can be a complex spirit, not only meant to be drink as a mixed product or in sweet drinks that you can actually have like on the rocks or even neat. So that was part of like a very intense, very, very fun too, journey to build the brand as we were building also the category worldwide. Also, it was a good timing because it was kind of like the revival of the cocktail scene across the world.
Yes.
You know, like mixology took to a different, like started to bring back the classic, the speakeasy started to open across the world. London, New York, pioneer markets, then other markets can lay on the wave. But it definitely, I will say that today we probably are in a time where you can have a pretty decent or really good cocktail pretty much in any major city.
Sí, eso sí. But you talk about, right, the growth, right? You talk about the fact that 103 countries, right? The scalability. Pero the reality is it is a competitive market también, right? So you talk about the marketing, you talk about the branding. What is it to you, right? Obviously, the quality of the product is great, right? An aged rum, something that you could sip like we're sipping right now on a cube, neat. Pero también, there are a lot of good rums out there, right? And there are a lot of other spirits out there también, right? You have your whiskeys, your tequilas, right? So not only you're competing by category in the spirit space, but you're also competing against other brands. How do you think Diplomatico separates itself?
To be completely honest, it was a learning journey. When we started with, we knew and we were confident about the quality of our product, of our liquid, of our presentation. So when we start that journey of expanding to the international market, we have different SKUs. We have Reserva, always was the flagship, but we also have a entry-level rum, part of the label of Diplomatico. We thought because this was on the entry level, it was more accessible. At one moment, we thought that this was the product, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But very early, we realized that if we go to the mass volume category, we start to knocking to the door to the biggest brand. And it becomes a marketing fight. Who have more marketing muscle, marketing budget, right?
Yeah.
So we couldn't be in that category. So a couple elements make us change our strategy, where we shift the focus to that segment, and we were like, okay, what makes us like really different? Añejo, it was the name of that label. Some people that know Diplomatico, they still miss that liquid because it was a beautiful rum to mix. But what makes us very different, it was the formula of Reserva. It was the fact that we were bringing up a rum that it doesn't need to be mixed. The beauty of rum is that is the versatility. You can make beautiful cocktails.
Right.
And I don't have anything against vodka. But vodka is very clean, very deep. It's very, very clean. Vodka doesn't change the flavor of your drink. Rum does. But by far the most distinctive liquid, it was Reserva. Okay. So we take the decision of shift the focus, and we're like, let's focus on Reserva, where we don't have to it's not as much as marketing budget. The category of premium is more about the craft and about, the craft and the quality. So instead of quality, we were sure that we could be next to every other brand in every other spirit, right? Side to side. So that was one thing. Focus on the product that really differentiate us from the other brands. Mm-hmm. And the other very strategical move that we did, it was in the expansion. Of course, we were looking for the volumes to make it affordable, right? But with the focus of premium and craft, we pay way more attention into the quality of the distribution versus the reach of the distribution. So first, and this, I'm going to make a parenthesis and going back. In the first couple, like the first year, we found an importer in Spain, but we didn't know much about them. Like, we didn't have many network outside of Venezuela. We were just happy that somebody paid some interest about us. And the first order, it was an aggressive one. The second, it was an aggressive one. And we're like, wow, these guys are buying by container. And then we were going market visit to Spain, and we don't see the product in many places. So. Then we start to open other markets. And then we realized that this guy, he was buying from Spain, but he wasn't selling in Spain. He was selling all over the world, in India, Australia, blah, blah, blah. At the moment, it wasn't like, at least he's buying. But as we were building our distributor network, we were like, okay, this guy is a problem, right? So that is a perfect example of the filter that we were applying. We were looking to be in the right places, in the right account, versus being everywhere.
Right.
So that was the solid pillars that we have with Diplomatico. We applied that in every market that we went. And another thing or another reason why we could build the brand this way, it was because back in Venezuela, we have a major portfolio. Venezuela this is 2000, from 2003, 2008. Of course, there was a political aspect going on, but economic-wise, it was a relative normal country.
Sí.
So the business in Venezuela, it was in a good shape, and that allowed us to take our time on building Diplo outside.
Okay.
Part of the vision and the risk that we took, it was to expand into the international market when we needed, because Venezuela was doing great. Year after, because we were lucky we've been lucky. Diplomatico is being lucky. Our group is being lucky.
There's always a little bit of luck
It's been
involved.
blessed always, man.
Yeah.
Because then, thanks that Diplomatico was having a good success international-wise, we could maintain the operation in Venezuela during the dark time of Venezuela, right? So that's why I say that the story of Diplo is a story of vision, of believing in our product, resilient, but also of taking risks. Because if we wanted to play in our comfort zone, we wouldn't, explore the international market. And other brands, it's interesting how now Venezuelan rum is a category. They're known in the industry. And other brands, even older than Diplo, they try to follow us, right? But building a brand, you cannot cut corners. It takes time and
100%.
it takes a lot of effort and passion.
Sí, because in the process of building that brand, right, which I think Diplomatico has done a phenomenal job of this, right, is the community, right?
The community is huge.
The people that drink it, right? Because when you go to the liquor store or you go to your supermarket, right, to go buy anything, right, the cereal, the liquor, whatever it may be, you're making a conscious decision to choose that bottle, right? And even if it's the first time, sometimes it's just the way it looks, right? And the way it kind of speaks to you. You're like, you know what? I want to try this. Then you let the product speak for yourself, and you're like, okay, wow, this is a really good product. I want to drink this again, and I want to eat this again, and I want to repeat it, right? Because no business can sustain itself if there's no repeatability to it, right? And that's part of that brand aspect, where to build a real brand, right, there is no cutting corners. You have to create a very good product, but you have to create a sentiment with the consumer so that you can have that community aspect.
And I will add to that impression, which is 100% true, is that it's not only the people that consume your product, it's the people who is selling your product. And doesn't matter if you are, the flavor of the month, let's say the popular kid.
Sí.
If the people behind your product, they don't care and they're not like good people, your product is not gonna move. And I remember he used to have a very good bar here in Miami, Exotico. He's a huge guy in the tiki culture. He's called Daniel de la Pola. He told me once, I was like hustling, throwing bottles everywhere. And he's like, Jose, I don't buy brands. I buy brands from the people that I really like. And bam, he brought Diplo, and it's been a beautiful relationship since then. But community is huge, and community is huge. Of course, my experience is in the alcohol business, but it's impressive. Like something that I love about my job of what I do is our community. The hospital, because we touch different aspects or different industry. But the hospitality industry, that is one of the most human communities that you can find in every pocket of every city. And we're in Miami, based in Miami. I'm a Miami adopted. I'm born and raised in Venezuela, but I live in Miami since 2014. Not Miami. I live in Doral. Since 2014. And brother, it's amazing. It's amazing, this industry, like in the moment in how in difficult moments it came together. Pandemic, Miami, Florida, but Miami, it was a very unique scenario. Though, and we saw that how the power of community coming together though. Personally, I felt very closely, like a month ago, Venezuela was hit by 2 massive earthquakes, and it was overwhelming to see how many people all over the country, all over the world, they came with their own initiative to raise, funds or to find a way to help.
Sí.
So big shout out to the hospitality and to the liquor industry, though.
No, absolutely.
The community, though.
Right, the community, exactly. And going to that really quick, it was impressive to see how the people rallied together. And it's in those moments when you really get to see. We live in this world, right, where it feels like we're so divided.
Right.
But in those moments, you realize we're actually more connected. You put everything aside, politically, emotionally, whatever it is, right? That you have your differences with people. But in those moments, you're like, it doesn't matter what's happening. We're here to help and we're here to support. And we're not going to wait for someone. We're going to do it ourselves, right? And I think that's what's more impressive than anything else.
I agree. I think we could see a little bit about like during the World Cup, which is like
that's
World
the best,
Cup year is a good year.
See.
But World Cup also shows us that a lot of time we think through social media, through the different channels, that they're trying to portray that we are more divided than we actually are.
See.
I'm very lucky in my job. I get to travel a lot across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I go from a bulletproof liquor store to the most fine dining restaurant in a matter of hours, and you get to see, a really good sample of the country, and their people. And I don't think we are as divided as they try to show us. And I'm talking about Miami, Florida. I was in Massachusetts recently, like New Orleans. I think people we get along way much better than people that media try to portray them.
And I think hospitality, like you mentioned, is a great way that it gets people together, right? You're sitting at the bar next to somebody that you've never met before. You spark a conversation, becomes a person now that you've acquainted, maybe even a friend, right?
100%.
Sports is another one that, like you said, World Cup brings people together. So that's why I think this space and specifically is very interesting, right? Because it brings people together, right? When you talk about your best moments and your best memories, it's always around other people, right?
And it's not about faking, because when you try to fake to be polite, it's rude. It's very rude. So good hospitality.
People can pick that up también.
Easily. And we can see it in a sport. Like when you're watching a sport or when you are out there and playing, even with people that you don't know, trash talk is part of the, it's part of the experience, and I think people can handle it very well with respect. That's it, though.
Absolutely. So fast forward a little bit of time, right?
Right.
You guys make a presence now internationally. You said it, right? It was a risk that you guys had to take, and the timing of it was very important, right? Because Venezuela was kind of going through its moment with the business, right? But you guys start to make market penetration not only here in the United States, but globally. Talk to me about what that process was like, right? On the sales infrastructure side, right? Having the reps going from retail store to retail store. Because I remember early on, I worked in that space before I started Stay Tranquilo, and I did with Kind bars, right? The snack bars.
Right.
And part of my job was going to the stores, making relationships with the managers, fighting for shelf space, right? In another space that was saturated. A lot of protein bars on the shelf and snack bars like Cliff and all these other bars, right? And my job was to say like, hey, Kind needs to be on the shelf and this is why. And I would sample the product in the store. What was your guys' kind of process in introducing the product into the marketplace, but also saying, hey, this is where our product should be. This is how we fight for our shelf space.
Absolutely. It's a learning. It was always being a learning journey, even today.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things is that you have to be aware that you have to be able to pivot. And as soon as you realize that you have to adapt, to certain circumstances, it's better. One of the things is like, for years, our biggest market, it was Europe. So Diplomatico became almost a phenomenon in country like France. France, Czech Republic, man. Czech Republic is like a county in Texas. And those guys, they were our second biggest market.
Really?
But in one moment, Diplomatico, it was more known and way more, the volume, it was bigger in Europe than even in Venezuela. That to give you an idea. So one of the challenge it was to understand that whatever work in Europe is like it doesn't apply to the
Exactly, doesn't
US
translate.
and vice versa. Whatever works in the US doesn't apply in Europe. I have met so many friends in the industry that they have success in Europe and they came with the mentality of how they do it here, and it doesn't work.
Right.
And it's frustrating. So we were there, but we were able to learn about that very quickly, and we kind of like split the strategy though. So one thing it was, for instance, about realizing that it's not working and you have to pivot. The early years for Diplo in the US, we were trying to go after the Venezuelan demographic.
Sí.
Very quickly, we find out or we realized that it wasn't resonating. Like we were getting the response that we were expecting. Venezuelans back in the time, those who were in the US, they were drinking whiskey. And when they saw that the price of a rum made in Venezuela, it was similar to their whatever blend whiskey they were having, they didn't call us. So then we're like, okay, we shouldn't go after Venezuelan. Let's go to the general market. And again, craft, premium. Let's go after those bars who are having a moment right now, creating a momentum of craft cocktails and bringing back the classic with a twist. And that is where we have our really success, like Diplomatico Reserva became that bartender choice in those bars. Many bars, they were having Diplo just for the staff. And we were getting our bottles rotating for the staff.
Hilarious.
But then something happened, and Venezuela went to a very dark period of time, and we went through a massive migration. In a period of 6 years, almost 8 million people left the country. What happened, and not to bring down the vibes in the conversation, but how that affect us, when that massive migration go to countries like Switzerland, Sweden, Czech Republic, US, of course, and they saw that Diplomatico was there, it became a nostalgic product, right? And it was, when the conversation about Venezuela, it was always a negative angle from politics, corruption, economic downhill, blah, blah, blah. Diplomatico, it was already in a shelf or in a liquor store, and people were knowing, like almost Venezuelans, they were kind of like reintroduced to the brand by people from other countries. So during that period, Diplomatico became that product that brings something very positive to talk about their country. And they became like big ambassadors. It became that gift that Venezuelans took to their friends, to their new communities, and they want to show something from their culture, and that was Diplomatico on the table.
That's incredible.
Then 2020 hit. Everybody was, super scared. Bars shut down. The good thing about like where we were, we have a good presence in liquor stores. In liquor store, it was a segment that business kind of explode.
Yeah.
At the moment, it was this app that was called Drizzly.
I did it.
Drizzly,
before
they were about to bankrupt, and then pandemia hit,
100%.
and Drizzly went up, and Uber later bought Drizzly.
Exactly.
But it became like...
No, insane.
So brands who have a presence in liquor store and have some recognition, they did good. We did good during those years.
That's great.
So. And also, podcasts it was a thing, but during the pandemic went like that.
Yes, because everybody was home. So it was like, what hobbies do you pick up? How do you use your free time now? If you worked an office job, you were working at home. I remember como un martes, I'm there making a piña colada and in the
Right.
pool and just there with my computer. Porque
Everybody
you're
was
like,
doing
what do you do with
cocktails.
your what do you do with your time? You know,
Exactly.
pero you had to have some sort of brand recognition at that point, right? Because yes, maybe you were willing to try something, pero you're like, I don't know when I'm going to leave my house, so I need something that I know I'm going to enjoy in
Right.
the house, right? Where I'm not going to a bar, pero I can have the bar at the
Right.
house.
So those elements and being always very intentional to whatever we did, it really helped the brand to positioning and to be there,
Right.
right? Another element, like for us, the New England market, it was a very tough one to crack. And we were able to partner with the Boston Red Sox for a period of time that it really held the brand in that region, because that is a thing or is a brand that it really called to
Oh,
a
yeah.
mass and the
Especially during
loyalty
that
of
era.
the fans.
Mhm.
Exactly. During that, and I remember before signing that partnership, the thing it was it was eliminated already. It was a horrible day, freezing, raining. The thing it was losing 9 innings and the stadium it was packed. And like that doesn't happen,
No. Doesn't happen in a lot of places. Definitely doesn't happen in Miami, unfortunately.
Well, always being intentional, always like understanding or believing in our product, that we could be, next to any other brand, and be very respectful about our community, about our industry, understanding to who we sell and then to who is consuming our product.
Right.
So fast forward 2022, Diplomatico became a brand spirit of the year in the US, which it was a huge milestone because even we're living in the era of tequila and celebrity, and this is in the middle of celebrity
Sí.
brands booming. Bourbon also huge. Wrong, or Diplo was always being a little bit above of the trend of the category, but the flavor of aged rum is very friendly. In terms of like you have some sweet note, but without being overly sweet. If you like more high proof, you have some other expression that go crazy on high proof. If you have more funky, you have the Jamaican style. So the category of aged rum or sipping rum is a spirit that is very versatile and called to different audience, for those more mature to sipping style or just for those who enjoy a cocktail like espresso martini
Sí.
or
I've been
anything
putting
like that.
people on, because espresso martinis have been notorious con vodka.
Of course,
right?
vodka and gin.
When I first ever had my first espresso martini with vodka, pero I knew, I'm like in my head, I'm like, this is not how an espresso martini should be drank, right? Like you're talking about the notes of espresso, right? And how it can exasperate other flavors, especially in liquor. To your point earlier about vodka, right? Nothing against vodka, pero it doesn't have that element to it. So I was like, a rum or even like a tequila reposado, right?
Yeah.
Could work well with espresso martinis. And now I only do my espresso martinis with rum or tequila.
To understand flavors, if you follow this rule, it's always gonna help. If grow together, go together in terms of the soil.
I like
So
that.
flavors like coffee, rum, chocolate, tobacco, those came kind of from the same soil. If you pair those flavors, regardless how, they're gonna work. Like coffee and rum, espresso martini, beautiful though. A cigar and rum, great. Dark chocolate and rum, it's really good.
combo.
So that always is a good,
I like that. Grown
reference.
from the same place.
Exactly.
I like that. So obviously you guys get the Spirit Award, right? You make the partnership with the Red Sox, but go down the line and you guys have a big acquisition, obviously, that happens.
Huge. So
was that the moment that you realized, like, oh my goodness, like we've clearly, obviously there was already a level of success that you guys have had to get to the point for that to happen. But when was it for you that you're like, we've clearly done more than we could have ever imagined? Oh, the engine. Okay. Okay.
The acquisition, though.
Okay,
That's good.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I didn't even notice. Thank you. So for you guys, right, you have that transition where you make the deal with the Red Sox, right? And you have that partnership with them. And then you have kind of a lot of traction already internationally, right? But for you, there was a next step, right? And that was the acquisition of Brown-Forman, right? That came in and said, hey, we want to broker a deal with you guys. But for you, was that the moment that you realized, like, hey, we've made it? Or was there a moment before that you're like, hey, we've been able to accomplish way more than maybe we ever dreamt of?
Great question. I've been very fortunate to have a seat in this story of Diplomatico, a very close seat. And to give you a little bit of background, Diplomatico is a multi-family company
Sí.
where we have people from the family that they are in operating roles, from the general manager to the COO, CEO, from the guy who operates the distillery, commercial, everything. They also, most of them, they also born in this industry. Some of them, one of them, our COO, he used to work for the company it was a multinational who owned the distillery before the group buy it. So with this, like the founders of the company, they had the experience, or they have been in this kind of like level.
Okay.
Maybe not as main players, but they were close. So we knew, like already at these years, 2022, surviving pandemic, when like some brands did really good, but many brands, they didn't, right? And as an independent group, as an independent brand, we were very aware of what we were doing because we start to show into global statistics, like now the big players in the industry, they knew that we were around. And it was more like, who are these guys? One of the beautiful things that we get to experience, it was that we never went out to look for a buyer. But we got approached for years. We got approached, and that is another story about this brand. Before this, more early, we were in a difficult position, and we got approached by a big international company, a French company, and they make us an offer. At the time, I was a kid, man. and when I heard that offer, I was like, "I'm pretty good."
Sí.
They never, like the founders, they didn't even consider.
Wow.
They were like, "No, this is not our vision. This is not where we went." A year after that situation, everything happened, all this journey, other big players approached to us, because how it works in this industry, similar to other ones, it's like the power of negotiation that you have is depending on the portfolio that you represent, that you have.
Right.
Diplomatico is one brand, but in this industry, you have groups that they represent 20, 30 Diplomáticos in terms of volume and value. Right? So we were reaching into a level that in our conditions, we were reaching to our roof. If we wanted to take Diplo to another level, like the industry or the business ask you for a couple options, either to join another portfolio, to partner, so on. So,
and is that because of distribution limitations?
More than distribution limitation, is more for marketing investment.
Okay.
And how distributor works, again, in this business, let's say you have three chains. You have the producers, right, who make the liquid, the brand owning, and the distributor, right? The distributor is probably the player who have the most influence in the business.
Absolutely.
Right? So, the conversation today is to have like 2 hours, chat about what's happening in the distributor level right now. But that is for another day.
Yes.
So in order for you as a brand owner to negotiate with the distributor, you need a portfolio to balance, the table, right? That was the element that we were lacking. So big players approached to us. What they saw is that Diplomatico was a global brand. It was in the right account, really well received by consumers and by the trade, by the industry, and great product. But we couldn't, or it will take us a lot of effort and capital to take it to another level.
Right.
What is to take it to another level? The other level is to make it mainstream. What is mainstream? Mainstream is to be in every menu, in every chain, food chain or liquor chain or grocery chain in the country. In order to you do that, you need to have a biggest negotiation power with those distributors because it's a very competitive business, So we were reaching to that level, and it was like either we stay as we are and start to grow in a lower pace, which it wasn't bad at all, or we listen, or we go this direction. It was a very, very rich experience. It took almost 2 years of negotiation. To the end, Brown-Forman, beautiful company, man. It's 158 years old company. 158-year-old company. Iconic brands like Jack Daniel, Woodford Reserve, Old Forester, Herradura, so on. They sit out with us. It was out of the 3 companies that I was approaching at the same time, though they were the one that we identified the most in terms of how run business and in terms of value, and we saw that they really will take care of the brand, right? So after years of negotiating, almost 2 years, we came to an agreement where pretty much they buy the brand, but in terms of the production and the liquid behind, it remained the same. So we still producing the brand in Venezuela in our distillery.
Wow.
But they own the brand, and they took some of our things, some of our know-how and tradition. Like me, I'm still Diplomatico. I work for Brown-Forman and Diplomatico North America. But they brought a whole new know-how and expertise. So that was in 2023. This kind of merge or adding a product like Diplo to a portfolio that is well established, it takes time to align the things, to align the sales force, the distribution network.
Yeah.
So today, which is like 2 years and a half after, 3 years and a half after, it's like all those pieces felt more, settled or assembled.
Right.
And well, since 2023, Diplomatico is part of the Brown-Forman family, joining brands like Jack Daniel, Woodford, Forester, Herradura. And we truly believe that with Brown-Forman, it's gonna be like we have the resources to make be Diplomatico or make Diplomatico that legacy brand. And in the future, we see like there is not a different vision than Diplomatico being the number 1 rum in the world.
Yeah, and the crazy part is you guys are their only rum brand too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Well, that was one of the things that made sense for both. Instead of we get the attention for them, and Brown-Forman, it was interesting enough how this industry worked. Even Brown-Forman is such a big company and has so much experience.
Because their other products are very good, like Herradura
is beautiful,
great tequila.
Man.
Jack Daniels,
Fourth Gin Mare, Jack Daniels, Woodford,
and great whiskey,
you name
bourbon.
It, but Diplomatico, it was such a big brand in Europe that I believe that was one of the things that made Brown-Forman look at Diplomatico as a great opportunity for their portfolio to increase their presence in Europe next to Diplo, and then Diplomatico in the US, be benefit of all the strength that Brown-Forman have in this market, though. So it was a partner that it really made sense.
Absolutely.
And that changed the history of everything,
yeah.
of the company, of the brand.
It's incredible because early on in the in the conversation, we talked about legacy, right? And you said the legacy is still ongoing, right? Because yes, amazing accomplishment to be able to take the brand to get recognized like by a Brown-Forman and be able to make something like that happen. But there's still work to be done, right? There's still so much room to continue to increase on that legacy, right? And carry the brand even further than you could have even imagined, which I think is impactful, right? And having a strategic partner like them, allowing you not only to work with them, but keep the same distillery, right? Be able to, because that's how legacy's built, right? 100%. Sometimes legacy's destroyed the other way, right? It's like you sell and then you lose everything and then you've lost touch of what made the brand early on. Where this feels obviously the complete opposite of that, right? It's still at the core, al corazón, right, del marca, that you're like, holy cow, this is just a perfect marriage between two really great partners and great people that we can make this bigger and better than it's ever been.
Because again, like what we say also at the beginning, it really matters the people behind the brand. If this brand was by anybody else, and the next day they start to change the values or everything, who like the bartender or the buyer who has been buying your product for years, if he don't feel right, he's gonna stop buying that.
Absolutely.
And there is a lot of cases that you can see that experience. So another thing that you mentioned, and I think everybody who have been in sales relative in certain way experience, is about consistency, and that's something that I really admire from salesmen, from sales rep to hospitality. It's not about having a great day. It's about doing that 5 times, 6 times, 8 times during the same week, and then
doing it again the next.
Doing it again.
Yeah, no, that's
all about.
It's the truth. So what excites you most about Diplomatico now moving forward?
Man, the future. I want to see Diplomatico and what we are building. Something that I'm very excited this year is that we are building Diplomatico. We are bringing the Hispanic or the Latino culture to, like we always have done it, but now, and that is the things that partner with a bigger company, give you more resources, more people on the ground to build this kind of message. So we have a few really cool programs that we are launching across the country, like Café Diplomático, where we bring the coffee culture of the Hispanic culture, of the Latino culture, with rum, and we bring in those experience, We just have a great activation or a great week in New Orleans for Tale of the Cocktail. Tale of the Cocktail is a festival. It's the biggest bartender festival in the world. It's been running for 20 years.
Wow.
It brings bartenders and like hospitality and bar from all over the world. 1 week in New Orleans, attending seminarios, but also doing really cool activation. So we did the Café Diplomático, where we have like a coffee truck doing espresso martinis. We have a raspado. Raspado is a shaved ice.
Okay.
Shaved ice, everything with Diplo, of course. But we try to replicate that culture of not just Venezuela, of what we Caribbean and Latino have in common, which is a lot about community, and I think it's a universal message.
Sí.
So that is what I'm very excited about, to see live a lot of our culture and bringing to the general market.
Oh, it's exciting. Y el café is the universal language.
Claro.
También. So one last question for you. What is your go-to drink con el Diplomático?
My go-to with Diplomatico, I have a lineup.
Okay, talk to me.
So, and this is a life advice. No, I'm kidding. But classic daiquiri.
Okay.
A classic daiquiri is fresh lime juice, simple syrup, and a good rum like Diplomatico. Well shake. If you go to a bar and you order a classic daiquiri and somebody said, we don't have a blender, you have an opportunity there to teach, I would say, that the classic daiquiri is in a shaker, very cold. So that is my first one.
Lime juice?
Fresh lime juice. Simple syrup or sugar, a spoon of sugar, and rum. Un Diplomático line, I like the Planas, which is a high-proof white rum. So that on a daiquiri. Then I can pivot from a rum Negroni with Reserva, or honestly this, man. Like
this was that when the coconut water was, oh my
That's my
God.
dream, man.
I'm like, that's dangerous.
Coconut water, ice cube, Diplomático Reserva. If you want to add another layer, chocolate bitter. That's your drink.
Wow. No,
That's
qué rico. You heard it there. We're going to have to do a little bartending video here, demonstrating some
and
of
I have
this.
to get you the 50 ml, man. Like Diplomático in a day of golf is a really good fit.
Absolutely. Last time we played, this is our birdie juice. So we need more birdies on the course, that's for sure. Pero José Luis, thank you so much for
thank you, man.
for taking the time to share the story of Diplomático, a legacy that has been built and will continue to be built. And we're excited to help share that story here and have you here in the studio. So
thank you
so
and
much.
Congrats, man, and congrats for Stay Tranquilo.
Muchas gracias. All right, guys, thank you always for tuning in. And as always, stay tranquilo.